Okay, we're live in 5, 4, 3.
Hello folks, and welcome to the HQ of Formula One's newest team. We've been invited backstage to gain an exclusive insight into what could be one of the most exciting entries in the sport for many years. Now, we've seen a number of new teams enter the sport over the last decade, amongst their number Manor, Caterham, HRT and of course Haas. And while some have proved to be successful, others have morphed into different teams and some have disappeared completely. What marks this team out, though, as being something different is that its owner is also its driver. Now, there's a rich history of that in Formula One too. Sir Jack Brabham, John Surtees, Graham Hill and Bruce McLaren all drove their own cars in the sport, but it has become increasingly rare in recent years. What's very special about this team, though, is that while the team itself is new to Formula One, so too is its driver and owner.
Whatever happens this season, you've already made the history books. Tell me, do you feel up to the mammoth task of both managing and driving for a Formula One team? Every team needs two drivers, but what was it that drew you to your teammates? No one aims to finish bottom of the table. Who's the team you're aiming to beat? How are you expecting the car to feel out on track? The other teams now have years of experience, both on and off the track. How are you planning to catch up to them? Overtaking is a key part of this sport. How have you ensured that your car can take advantage of each opportunity that comes your way? And finally, which of your new departments are you most proud of?
Well, that's about all we've got time for here. We will see how this fledgling team fares in its first Grand Prix.
Okay, great, thank you. That's a wrap.
Great interview, boss. You nailed exactly what the team's been working on. When you've got time, check the R&D tree to see our current progress and where we think there's room for more. And while you're at it, why not take a stroll around HQ and check on how the team's doing?
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three: Vettel, Leclerc and Valtteri Bottas. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
All right, I think we can call that a successful qualifying. We should be in with a good chance in the race.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal. And it's make or break here at round one of this year's Formula One World Championship. Formula One returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36-mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities. It could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. Can Mercedes start with victory in their bid to win a 7th consecutive Constructors' title? Could Ferrari or Red Bull establish an advantage early on? And with 22 cars on the grid, how quickly can the new team find their footing? Well, it's great to be back, Anthony Davidson. We've got a lot to talk about this year.
That's right, Crofty. It felt like a long winter, but it's good to finally be back. I have to think the usual suspects will battle it out at the front, but there are always going to be some teething problems early on in the season, so whoever can keep on top of their issues will have the advantage today.
As I mentioned earlier, we're up to 11 teams this season, with a new entry run by, well, of all things, an owner-driver. That's something we haven't seen in this sport since Hector Raback over 4 decades ago. So how are they looking so far?
It's hard to imagine how a small operation like that could survive in the ruthless world of Formula One, and yet here they are, first ever race looking surprisingly strong. But there are no points for qualifying. Let's see how they fare in the Grand Prix proper.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Red, Lewis Hamilton and Verstappen, Albon, Sainz, Norris and Daniel Ricciardo, Kvyat, Perez, Esteban Ocon and Gasly, Stroll, Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi and Roman Grosjean, Magnussen, Matsushita, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Pushing. Let's capitalize on that first lap. A new strategy is available on the MFD. Use your overtake button more, it's time to utilize some of this energy. DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. There's 3 laps of fuel remaining. The car behind is dropping back. We're seeing a gap form. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. The gap to the car ahead is 1.6 seconds. That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
That's it for another spectacular Grand Prix here in Bahrain and a real champion's drive to take the win. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection, a shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today and a stunning win for Ferrari. So, let's review the driver's standings. And with today's impressive result, Charles Leclerc steps into the championship lead. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
Charles Leclerc showed exactly how to manage yourself out on the track today. He was almost flawless out there. Incredible stuff.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled. It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it? Appreciate your time.